Research Case Study Presentation, Jorge Ospina, Full Sail University. Part 1, New York Times versus Sullivan. Who are the parties to the case? Police Commissioner L.B. Sullivan versus New York Times. What facts led to their dispute? The subject of the case was an advertisement in the New York Times titled Hit Their Racing Voices. The commercial solicited funds for three purposes. 1. Supports the student movement. 2. The struggle for the right to vote. 3. Legal representation to free Martin Luther King Jr. from charges of perjury for which he had been accused. Sullivan stated that the two paragraphs directly affected him. The third paragraph, which described how black students gathered on the state capitol, were tear-gassed by the police, and how the students at the Alabama State University were stabbed into submission. The sixth paragraph explained attacks which the intention of killing Mr. King and his family. The Alabama State Supreme Court and the trial court awarded retributory damage to the appellant to the amount of $500,000. Therefore, the case was filed in the Supreme Court of the United States on the writ to certiorari, seeking reversal to the decision. Why did Sullivan feel his reputation was damaged by the New York Times publication? Mr. Sullivan said that his reputation had been damaged because the people who read the advertisement could have doubts in regard to his integrity. What elements of defamation, libel, since Sullivan was a public official, what did the plaintiff have to prove in this case? The Supreme Court stated that because Sullivan was a public official, the rule of actual malice must be met. Therefore, Sullivan needed to prove that there was actual intent to damage or negligence or reckless disregard for facts. What was the Supreme Court decision and why did it make that decision? The United States Supreme Court ruled in favor of the newspaper. Reasons, despite of the commercial advertisements, are not guaranteed freedom of speech. However, the court decided that the advertisements was not commercial. Therefore, rejecting publication from liberal licensure will discourage this kind of advertisements from being published. The court stated that unrestricted exchange of ideas is critical for the advancement of the society. In addition, the benefits from criticizing public officials are far compensated by the personal injury. The Supreme Court said that the degree of error is inevitable in a debate, and the truth cannot be identified since the opinion of the opponents always appears erroneous. Part 2. Gertz versus Welch. Who was the parties of this case? Gertz, a lawyer who represented Nelson family during a murder case, versus Welch Incorporated. Was the petitioner a private person or public figure? The petitioner was a private individual. What were the alleged defamatory statements about girls in the American Opinion article, Robert Welch, Inc., director of American Opinion, published an article that stated Girls was the architect of a firm-up of Lucio. The article detailed that the petitioner had a criminal record and long history of communist affiliation. What was done to confirm the accuracy of these allegations against Girls? The editor denied any knowledge of the falsity of the statement concerning Girls. Additionally, the editor stated that he relied on the author's reputation and his prior experience. How do you think these allegations affected Girls' reputation? Girls stated the damage included impairments of reputation and standing in the community, personal humiliation, and mental anguish and suffering. What would you have done differently than Welch to avoid the lawsuit? Conduct a more in-depth research about the accuracy of the statements and find experts' opinions. Quote other people's opinions. What is your state's defamation law? In Texas, the elements of defamation claims are publication of an statement, defamatory concerning the plaintiff, degree of fault. Texas law is very similar to U.S. defamation law. Requirements. The publisher acts negligently for private figure or actual malice for public figure or official. Some examples of individuals deemed to public official or all-purpose public figures by Texas court states include law enforcement officer, Texas Child Protective Services specialist, assistant regional administrators of branch office of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, court-appointed child psychologist in a child custody case. How can you relate what you learned from the Sullivan and Getz cases to your future work in the industry? The Constitution of the United States protects the freedom of speech and therefore covers the content of publications. Unrestricted debate allows the respect of different opinions and protects the participants from liability. However, journalists and communication companies should be very careful with their statements. Any proof of malice or irresponsibility handling information could potentially be accountable. Journal practices such as quotation from experts, research, and verification that the information is true are tools that may help producers about legal responsibility. References. Thank you.